In this week's video report for New England, we have word on a charity fishing tournament taking place next week, an update on the Coastal Kayak Clash as the leaderboard underwent a bit of a shakeup since we last checked in, more triggerfish in Massachusetts, improving striped bass and bluefish action in the surf and inshore waters of New England, news about the start of the fall for-hire porgy bonus season, awesome bluefin tuna action not too far off Montauk, and much, much more. Let's check it out.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Hey there, Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine with this week's web video fishing forecast for New England. Well, first up this week, I want to direct you to a special charity fishing tournament that the Fisherman magazine is involved in, which takes place next week on September 8th. The Connecticut Charter and Party Boat Association has teamed up with the River 1059 and the Hometown Foundation to present Fishing with Fish for the second year in a row. Now join local radio DJ David Fish from the River 1059 for a day out on the water and help raise funds for Hometown Foundation, Special Olympics, and Terry Brodeur Breast Cancer Foundation. Tickets are still available, and you get all the details right now online at thefisherman.com. Well, we have lots of changes this week in the Coastal Kayak Clash leaderboard, including a new overall leader, new top weak fish, a new top blackfish, and the first hardtail entry of the season, but I'll get to those in just a moment. Now, last week I reminded everyone to get those sea robin entries in for the August Fish of the Month entries, and boy did you listen. I think everyone was submitted a bird for a shot at the $100 gift card to Yak Attack, and we're going to be holding off on the official announcement of all the monthly winners until the Coastal Kayak Clash concludes on November 30th, but there's still plenty of time for you to win, as each month has a designated species for Fish of the Month consideration, and you got plenty of time to climb the leaderboard for a shot at winning the awesome new Old Town Sportsman 136, as well as many more awesome prizes. For remaining Fish of the Month species, just to give you a heads up, September is the combo false albacore bonito, or what we're calling the hardtail category. October is the bluefish, and November rounds things out with blackfish. Now, speaking of those hardtails, we had the first entries hit the leaderboard this week as New York's James Erickson hit the leaderboard late last week, but he wasn't done with just one entry. Nope, he followed up with his initial entry with a quick upgrade and then another upgrade to follow that, all before the final day of August. Now, what this means for you is not only are there second and third places open, but the September Fish of the Month spot remains wide open, as September is the hardtail Fish of the Month, meaning the largest hardtail entered for September 1st, the final day of the month, will get you that Yak Attack gift card. So get on those funny fish, take some photos, and send them in. Now, we had some other leaderboard movement this week as New England's Justin Oser dropped a nice new top tog with a 23.25-inch fish, proving that the late summer blackfish bite can be quite good. This moved Justin to third place overall. Now, I'm sure we're going to see more big tog rolling in over the next few months as there are more and more kayakers targeting them. Just keep in mind that we close things out in November with blackfish as the Fish of the Month species. And last up on the Coastal Kayak Clash this week, the top two spots swapped around as New York's Bob Wagner made a charge for first place, overcoming New England's Chris Neves with his 27.5-inch weak fish. This is a solid entry any time this season, but especially in late summer. Now, this entry, as I noted, also took up a top spot for the weak fish and gives Bob 8 total points and sole possession of first place overall for now, but there's plenty of time for things to change between now and the end of November when the tournament ends. The Coastal Kayak Clash is open to all current subscribers of Fisherman magazine, and you can visit thefisherman.com right now for complete rules as well as to register for free today. All right, moving into the reports, we're going to start up in Massachusetts, where longtime Fisherman magazine subscriber Stephen Topazio sent me an email as he was out fishing over the weekend with his buddy Skip Santos. I'm not sure exactly what they were targeting, as it looks like Skip was using an umbrella or Alabama rig of some sort with what looks to be chatterbaits attached and then tipped with squid, but apparently it worked as Skip landed a big triggerfish on his secret spread. Now, I sent Steve an email to clarify what the rig was, but I haven't heard back just yet, so I'll be sure to let you know if I find out by next week's video. Maybe you can find that secret rig to get you some big triggerfish the rest of the season as well. Next up, bridging the Rhode Island-Massachusetts border, TJ Kopecki has a video update from the East Bay. Take it away, TJ.
Hey, thanks, Toby. Hey, guys, nice to be back again. Back on location here. I'm in the Coles River again in Swansea. The water's cooled off quite a bit. 69 degrees, 70 degrees. Just brought in a couple of little schoolie stripers, and I can see them coming up and hitting the bait. There's tons of bait in here. Just trying a couple of new things. Some resin jigs right now, some real small 4-inch gulps on a 1/2 ounce lead head. Trying anything to entice the bite. Good report still from the bay. Pelagics are all here. We all know the bonita and false albacore are pretty much scattered all around the outskirts, the outer bay. Haven't seen any reports inside. Had a chance to get on my boat a few times and do some fluke fishing, and fluke fishing has been unbelievable. I'm actually been scoring really good. Keeper wise is down, but I actually hooked into a weak fish and lost him at the boat. So there are some weak fish there, and I lost a couple of fish, and I'm presuming that those are weak fish also, just because they have that soft mouth. But all in all, things are still good in the bay. There's still a lot of good blue fishing. There's still a lot of like snapper blues here. But one thing I want to touch on with everybody is pretty much conservation. I came down here a couple nights ago, and I saw a couple of people fishing, and they had about 20 bluefish in their bucket. In case we didn't know, it's 3 bluefish in Massachusetts here that you can take, and they pretty much weren't aware of that. They still proceeded to catch them. But you know, we have to be not only the fishermen but the conservationists. We have to preserve pretty much our fishery and let people know that, hey, you know, you're taking more than what the quota says. But you know, I'm not the police. I'm not here to pretty much tell anybody they got to go to jail or whatever. But our job as fishermen is to conserve what we have. So you know, if you see anybody out there, and you know, voice your opinion to them, and that's what I do as an avid fisherman, and I hope you would too. And hey guys, tight lines out there. The fishing's unbelievable everywhere, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, TJ. Great point there about bluefish and the new regulations. I honestly, I wish the states had put forth more of an effort to alert anglers of the new regulations for 2020, as among other items, like you said, all states now have a 3-fish bag limit on bluefish, regardless of size. That means snapper blues, tailor blues, chopper blues, whatever size. It's 3 bluefish. That is it per person. And also, as we talked about a bunch of times, striped bass has a harvestable slot limit from 28 to 35 inches. This means fish under 28 inches and over 35 inches must be released. Unfortunately, I'm still getting word all over the place of anglers claiming ignorance on these changes. Now, while it would have been nice if the states had done a little bit more work, like I noted, it's still incumbent upon every single angler out there to be sure that they are completely aware of the regulations as they apply to them at that moment. Of course, you can get all of the regulation updates anytime you want at thefisherman.com from New England on down through the mid-Atlantic. We have them all broken down state by state and species by species. Okay, switching gears for a moment here, we head over to the surf. Where Dave Boak has checked in this week as he's been hitting the roadie surf pretty hard recently, finding lots of schoolies as well as some small keeper bass, and of course plenty of bluefish as you would expect this time of the year. Now on Friday, he took his buddy's kid out, Eric Jackham, and they got into a load of schoolies for the majority of the dropping tide. However, once things slacked up, Eric threw on a big purple tactical angler sub darter and hooked into a nice 43-inch striped bass. Now congrats on his personal best striper, and I'm sure you're going to beat it one more time at least before the season is up. Moving on over into Connecticut. As we change the calendar to September, we mark the start of the annual fall for-hire bonus season on porgies in Connecticut, which runs from September 1 through October 31st. And while the minimum length remains unchanged at 9 inches, the bag limit increases from 30 to 50 fish. Now again, keep in mind, this is only on for-hire vessels. That's party boats, head boats, 6-packs, for-hires only. Shore and private boat bag limit remains unchanged at 30 fish, as well as the 9-inch minimum length. And then last up, if you recall in last week's video, I passed along word of a really good tuna bite that was taking place out by the Ranger Wreck, and I noted that my buddy Tom had gotten in on it, but I gave him a bit of a hard time for not dropping off any yellowfin steaks for me. Well, you know what? He did me one better this week as we took a run out east early Monday morning and got into some bluefin tuna action of our own. Along with our buddies Gabe and Mike, we boated a bunch of bluefin tuna as well as some really big false albacore. We were treating to some amazing shows all morning for the local humpback whale population. Once we had our fill on the bluefin, we started to look around for yellows and mahi, but the water temp had dropped several degrees in the past week, and we were able to connect with either species. We had plenty of fish on the boat already, so we were more than happy with the outing. Now, as far as that bite out there, again, it's primarily bluefin, 30-pound fish on up to a couple 100-pound, small giants. We heard a couple of people hooked and had some lengthy battle before breaking off. But it's no secret, at one point there was more than 60 boats on the ground working the area, but you know what, it didn't seem to hurt the bite any. A couple of guys we talked to after the fact had over 30 bluefin boated on the day before calling it quits. All right, well, there you have it. I'm Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine, wishing you tight lines if you head out onto the water this weekend.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.